Nestled within the Sagarmatha National Park, the home of Mount Everest, Island Peak, also known as Imzache, stands at 6,189 meters above sea level. It is one of the most popular trekking peaks in the Everest region and a gateway for those aspiring climbers to experience high altitude mountaineering or to train for the grander summits like Everest or Lhotse. This climb demands more than just endurance. It involves navigating steep sections, crevasses, and a formidable ice wall. The name Island Peak was given by Eric Sipton's 1951 Everest expedition team because when viewed from the village of Dingboche, it appears as an island amidst a sea of ice. This journey combines trekking with technical climbing, requiring ropes, crampons, and ice access to conquer the final push to the summit. My journey began with a short flight from Manthali to Lukla, a small mountain town where the adventure truly begins. Walking through the vibrant alleys of Lukla, I could feel the mountain chills, a preview of the challenge ahead. The trail on the first day took me through small villages and past numerous Buddhist shrines, ending in Phakding after an 8-kilometer trek. On the second day, I reached Namche Bazar, a Sherpa town at 3,440 meters above sea level. This amphitheater-shaped valley is the main trading hub and an essential acclimatization stop for those trekking in the region. To minimize the risk of acute mountain sickness, I spent an extra day here, exploring and adjusting to the altitude. The trek from Phakding to Namche Bazar was another 8 kilometers. Following the legendary Everest Base Camp trail, I made my way to Tengboche on the fourth day. This village is home to the Tengboche Monastery, the largest and most significant Buddhist monastery in the Khumbu region. Built in 1916, it's a spiritual center for the Sherpa community and a vital stop for trekkers on their way to Everest Base Camp. The day's journey from Namche to Tengboche covered about 9.5 kilometers. From Tengboche, I trekked through the villages of Devoche and Pangboche, finally reaching Dingboche, situated at 4,410 meters above sea level. This high-altitude settlement offers expansive views, particularly of the Imzachola Valley. I took another acclimatization day here, hiking up to Nang Kartsang Peak at 5,083 meters to help my body adjust to the thinning air before continuing the climb. The trek from Tengboche to Dingboche was about 10.5 kilometers. Leaving the main trail to Everest Base Camp behind, I veered off towards Chukung.
Good morning. It's 10th of May 2023, 10 o'clock in the morning. We are approaching Chukung. you can see this massive mountain in its full glory, the Amadablam. And here in front of me, behind me, it's Chukuk, the mountain behind them, behind that village. That is Island Peak. We're trying to climb that wall. Hopefully the weather will go good.
Tsukung is another high altitude settlement that lies at an elevation of 4,730 meters above sea level. This village primarily serves climbers aiming for Island Peak, Ampulapsa Pass or Kongmala Pass, one of 3 passes in Everest region. Before heading out, I made sure to gather all necessary climbing equipment such as climbing boots, carabiners, ice axe, harness and headlamps. From Tsukung, I headed northward, tracing the valley along the moraine of the Lhotse Glacier. After a brief riverside hike and a final 45-minute ascent, I reached Island Peak Base Camp. Hiking distance from Dingboche to Island Peak Base Camp was about 11 kilometers.
Now we are here at the Island Peak Base Camp. It took us almost 3 hours from Tsukung to reach this camp. Our mountain is there. Tomorrow we are going to climb that. See you tomorrow at the top, hopefully. Upon arrival, I had a brief training session on the rocks to get accustomed to the climbing gear. The base camp, with its minimal facilities and freezing temperatures, demanded careful preparation. But the effort was all worth it, knowing that the summit of one of Nepal's iconic peaks awaited. After a few hours of rest at base camp, I started my climb at midnight, aiming to beat the strong afternoon winds. Carrying only the essentials, snacks, water and a camera, I kept my backpack as
Good
light
morning.
as possible.
It's almost 12 a.m. 11th of May. We are here at Island Peak Base Camp. Starry night, and we are shortly starting our ascent to the Island Peak.
The climb was grueling. After about 2.5 hours of trekking over rocky terrain, I reached high camp at 5,600 meters. Here, the trail became treacherously steep. As the first light of dawn kissed the mountaintops, I reached crampon points at 5,700 meters, where I put on my crampons. From there, I followed the ropes set for the climbing season. As I ascended, the massive wall of Lhotse towered before me. Crossing a crevasse via a ladder and climbing a nearly 60-degree vertical wall, I finally reached the summit.
I did this. Unbelievable.
Standing atop Island Peak was a surreal experience. The pain and exertion vanished, replaced by awe at the sight of the world's highest and most iconic peaks. Amadablam, Lhotse, Makalu, stretching out in every direction. The thin air, the biting cold, and the overwhelming sense of isolation
created an intense connection with the mountains and the sky. Reaching the summit at 8:15 a.m. on May 11, 2023, after such a challenging climb, filled me with a profound sense of achievement. The descent was just as challenging, requiring constant mental and physical alertness. By the time I reached base camp at 1 p.m., I had been on the trail for more than 25 hours and was utterly drained. All I wanted was sleep. After a brief rest, I began my journey back to Demboche and further towards Lukla, forever changed by the climb.